We got somebody pretty fun today. Go ahead and take it away.
I'm Kayla Dykin. I'm from Avon, Ohio. I'm a freshman at the University of Findlay, and my major is pre-law finance, and I'm a pitcher.
Nice. Pitchers. You know, I love my catchers because I was a catcher,
Yeah.
but pitchers have some fun idiosyncrasies that they love to do. And I'm going to kind of take away
Go
yours.
for it.
I got to go with this one first because every pitcher has the strangest superstitions that I've ever heard.
Oh,
So we got to
really?
know. Let's just start it off this way. What are yours?
Um, Honestly, I don't really like have one. Like I have this thing where like, no, I don't have one. Like I'm very like chill. I usually always wear my hair the same way when I pitch, so I would guess that that would be like my superstition. But like otherwise, I don't have to do anything before the game. Like I'm just there. I'm just chill.
That's amazing.
That never happens.
Yeah, never. That is
Right.
awesome.
Well, let me ask you this. Like, do you ever have like when you're on fire, you have a streak going?
Mhm.
Do you get anything like that? Like you have to do the same thing because you're in a streak?
Okay, during the season, this was kind of weird. I've never told anyone this, but I used to wear the same hair tie for every single game. Like the whole
There
season.
You go.
The whole
I
season.
would,
Yeah.
So like if we won, I would wear it again. If we lost, I would get a new one.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
That's it. Okay, you do have one. That's
But,
perfectly
but
fine.
that was only high school season. Like
Okay.
never like never any other time. Like never during the summer for travel did I ever do that. I don't know why I started doing it, but
So is that going to keep going?
maybe it could.
Do you
Honestly,
feel more comfortable that way?
I mean, I'm at college, so like so far it's harder to like keep track of it. I'm not gonna lie, I've gone through like 15 in like 2 weeks. So honestly, I don't know if it will continue because I just keep on losing.
I've been here for like an hour. I've gone through 75 already. You know.
You know what? Maybe she's got like 3 of them and she keeps finding one that she's lost, and really there's just like 3.
Because I know that's what I would do. You know, I mean, I have so much hair. Can you tell?
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I can tell.
Captain Lou Albano.
You know it. So I want to talk about your senior season a little bit because it's pretty remarkable in my opinion. As a former coach, softball recruiter, I'm looking at the numbers: a 1.108 ERA,
Wow.
256 strikeouts. With that being said, the 256 strikeouts, you had 67 strikeouts just in the playoffs alone. You only gave up 37 base on balls. You can hit. You had a 466 batting average and you had 5 jacks.
Yeah.
You're an all-around ball player. You're not just a pitcher. You're an all-around ball player. Are you planning on, or is the coaching staff planning on having you play both ways, basically?
Well, they kind of recruited me as a hitting pitcher. So as of like right now, yes. And we had our individuals earlier, so I pitched for like 45 minutes and then I hit for like 30 minutes. So far I'm practicing both ways. It kind of just depends on how I produce and the lineup against college players.
Nice. I want to ask you 3 questions. Okay. And there are 3 questions that come in succession. And I want to pertain them towards softball in general. So it could be hitting, pitching, whatever you want to do with softball in general. Okay. Here we go. What do you do well?
I think I like pitch. So like when you're a pitcher, especially in softball and you pitch so often, you have to have like an attitude that like you're better than everyone else. And you have to have like a certain like cockiness, like not like cockiness, but like confidence. Like you gotta have like a little bit of like something behind your pitches because it just like adds something to you. It adds something to like the intimidation factor. So like if you're like walking out there like with like your slumped shoulders and you just like look sad, you're not gonna be intimidating. But like girls from other teams have actually come up to me and they've like met me outside of softball and they're like, you are completely different than what I thought you would be. Because on the field, I'm very like I kind of have like a little bit of like a mean resting face. So like
I like it.
so I look mean, and I'm more intimidating, and I think that that has like something to do with like when you look at a team, like especially like me, if I'm playing another team, I look at that team and I'm like, do they look good? Do they look intimidating? So it's like part of like the intimidation factor is like getting in the head of like other people. And I've had people come up to me and actually say that I like scare them, and I kind of get in their head. So I think like as a pitcher, that's helpful, because then they come up to hit against me and they're like scared. So that kind of just adds something to like what I already have.
That a girl. I like it. I like it. What would you do differently?
Um, I wish I took up other positions earlier. So when I was younger, I was very bored when I was in the fields. I have to be entertained like 24/7. Like I can't just stand there and do nothing. My attention span is so slim. Like especially when I'm driving, my patience is not there. So I wish that I like developed more patience and would like play like an outfield position or like somewhere else in the infield. Like I can play first base, but to be honest, I don't really like enjoy it. It's not my favorite thing ever. I wish I would have like taken up like third or like an outfield position, especially like earlier. Because right now it's just, why would I take it up? Especially because I've only like played pitcher, or I've only played pitcher and first. So like I'm not out of nowhere gonna be like, I want to be an outfielder, because I haven't played it in so long. So I kind of wish I did that earlier.
Nice, good answer. And what do you think you need work on?
Um, I think like I hit really good in high school season, but during the summer, I think I kind of struggled because I think my mentality changed. I took a break from softball, went on vacation, took some time off, and I think that that was good with when it came to my pitching, but with my hitting, I don't think it helped, and I think that my mentality kind of changed, and I need to be like more consistent with like my mentality and like how I stand in the box. I change how I stand in the box like every single season, which like because I just like because I take a break and then I come back and I forget how I stand in the box. So it kind of so it kind of like depends on the season, because how I stood in the box at the end of senior year is not how I stand in the box now. It makes absolutely no sense. But I think that it's like more consistency within like how I stand in the box and my routine going up to the plate.
So is it just a comfort level, like the way you stand in the box now compared to the end of your senior season? Have you figured out, like, did you go watch film and see how you did and try to go back? That was it uncomfortable, or are you just moving on to the next thing?
I just move on. Like that's kind of smart. I should honestly probably do that and go and like look, because I have like videos of like my home runs from the high school season. But I just kind of went with the flow. I was like, it's my last travel
Yeah.
ball summer. I'm just gonna go with the flow, see what happens. But like I'm still a little bit uncomfortable, so I'm kind of still trying to like find where my feet should go, how I should stand, how I should step. But I mean that comes with time, because your swing is always changing, like as your body's always changing. I'm on a new lifting program, so like that's gonna change. So it's just adjustments, and the season doesn't really start till the spring, so I'm good. I'm just gonna see how it goes.
You're gonna work through it. You're gonna get it back. You just gotta grab and find. And I just forgot.
She's this dominant pitcher,
Oh yeah.
and she's literally squirrel.
Yep. Pterodactyl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
so
love
there's
it.
this, is that not just the sports, but in your life, like you said, driving, even you have the ADHD going on right now.
Yeah.
But in that, because I understand it, being very similar, in the heat of the moment, you're unbelievably hyper focused. Is that
Yeah,
true?
like so once I become focused on something, I don't my mind doesn't leave that. Like in class, in my math class, once we start, I'm focused. But before that, I'm thinking about lunch. In my financial accounting class, not 1 minute during the class am I in that class, because it's just horrible, and it's like not like engaging. I have to be like engaged to something. So that's part of the reason why I also became a pitcher, because when I'm a pitcher, I'm constantly engaged in the game, and that's just how I'm successful. Like before the game, fun fact actually, before the game on the bus, no one was allowed to talk to me, because I had to like focus my myself on the game, and my best friend would sit next to me on the bus, and she would do everything she could to try and talk to me, especially on like the hour and a half like bus ride. She would be like, "You have to talk to me today." I was like, "No, I don't. I'll talk to you on the way home." So I would go to sleep, and then I would wake up and like try and like focus myself on the game.
So you're no girl. You're no girl. So you cannot talk during a no-hitter.
Except for me in the stands.
Yeah, this
It depends on like what we're talking about, because like during the game I do talk about the game, but I don't move off of the game.
Mhm.
So it's like I'll talk about like the hitters, or if like someone on the other team like made a good play, or if they're just like being like weird, like making like weird cheers, we'll be like, what are they doing? Like I'll talk about that, but it all has to do with the game.
Okay.
So,
right.
but she even said it, that that's her advantage, is that, yeah, she is all over the place all in her life, but as soon as she's focused on something, she's in it. That's her advantage. She hits that. So do you get, Michael Jordan talks about it, you get in the zone. Do you get in those easier than you think other people do? Like where you shut off the sound and you're so focused in, and that there's a different level of you easier than what you think other people do?
Yeah, honestly, because I think a lot of like some of the other girls on my high school team talked about it, they have trouble just focusing on the game. Like you'll see them during the game like looking around, like doing whatever, and they like never really like get in the zone. But when I played another position, or if I'm like just hitting, I also think it's really hard to get in a zone. Like specifically when I'm pitching, I think it's so easy to like be focused in on the game, be focused in what's happening. Like I know the other team's lineup from top to bottom after we go 1 through 9. I could like place everyone in order because I just like observe everything once I'm focused.
That's
Yeah.
that's just such a cool thing.
So I want to ask a little something different. I know when I was at the peak of being able to coach and break down when hitter swings and be able to literally put swings in slow motion and be able to see baseball pitchers. I was still learning about softball pitching, but with baseball pitchers, I could do the same thing. Do you find yourself being able to slow down the batters themselves and be able to break down their swing as you're pitching the ball or within a few pitches?
So usually when a batter comes up, I will like make like first impressions, like where they stand in the box, how they stand, and like how they load. How they load is kind of how I base like what I want to throw off of that. Like sometimes during summer we have like the wristbands where you can like call it out. So I would call my own pitches sometimes. So that's kind of how I would base like first pitch. I would base whether or not I thought that they could hit a certain pitch based off how they got in the box and how they loaded. And then after that, to be honest, I couldn't really see their swing because like I'm coming out at them like so fast.
Right.
I can see the ending, and I can see if they do something like funky, or if they seem like they can't hit a certain pitch, or if they like step out. But like from the side, I can't really like see it that well. And especially since we're so close, it makes it makes it a lot harder for me. So I kind of like do like more of the load and like how they step and like how they like approach a pitch. So like if I were to like throw an inside pitch and they get a little scared, I'm gonna throw it again. Like
I get,
This is such a great mentality. I love this.
you know what also I heard that I really liked? You pitch inside.
oh, of course.
You're not afraid to.
No,
It,
I love throwing inside.
it amazes me how many young ball players don't like to throw inside or can't throw inside.
Mhm.
So when you said that, I just kind of got a big old, yes, I love it.
Well, like in softball, so I think it's really easy to throw to your arm side of your body. So for me, it would be the throwing to right-handed batters. But growing up, I struggled throwing inside to left-handed batters. Some people,
Really?
yeah, some people are opposite, but
Yeah.
for the longest time, I could not throw inside to a left-handed batter. It would go in down the middle half the time, but like they couldn't. They missed it sometimes. Sometimes they hit it. But like I don't know, sometimes today I still think it's hard. Like if my curveball is sailing like up, I don't want to hit them because like why would I want to give them a free base? So sometimes I still think it's hard to throw inside to a lefty. I've never really thought it's hard to throw inside to a righty. So I think it just like, but some people have a really like some righty pitchers have a really dominant curveball, so they think it's really easy to throw inside to a lefty, but not to a righty. Like softball pitchers, sometimes you can like ride like one or two pitches, and if that pitch does not go inside or like doesn't go inside to a righty or doesn't go inside to a lefty, you struggle with like that side of the plate.
Yeah, no, exactly. Monica Abbott had a saying, train to the deficiency. And basically what it was just it's going to lead to my next question, by the way. It's going to basically work on the uncomfortable. Okay. I'm going to slap you. Basically. So the next question is how do you make the uncomfortable comfortable for yourself?
You have to do it. So like my freshman year of high school, I sucked at throwing a curveball. My coach, he said I could only throw 2 pitches in our scrimmages. One of the pitches was a curveball. So now I'm going into my freshman year of college and it's my best pitch.
Nice.
So over those
Well,
years.
then what's the next one? What's the next uncomfortable thing you want to make comfortable?
A drop ball. I've been trying to do that for like 3 years though. So
okay, now it's time because you're at college. Your workouts are different. Your mentality's there. It's that's the next step. Then you just got to do it.
And your CDO will kick in, and you'll be just get it done, right?
Yeah.
CDO is OCD, but you have to put all the letters together. Anyway, sorry.
The CDO person would have heard that the other way.
Yeah, exactly. See, I'm sorry. I joke around way too much sometimes, but that's okay because look at him. He's a joke anyway. So therefore, that brings up another question that I love to ask. Going from the high school game, and I know you've only been in college for an hour or two or, a couple of weeks. What's the transition been like for you to slow the game down?
I think honestly coming back and being a freshman kind of puts me back to freshman year of high school, just like 100 times worse because you don't know anyone. So like it kind of like I kind of feel like a high school freshman just like on like cocaine. Like I feel like completely like out of place. But even like today, like I have a new pitching coach, so we completely like started like from the basics with pitching. We started like with how you spin the ball, like where the pressure is on your fingers, your like descending motion. So it's kind of like we're starting with like completely like breaking down and then building back up, even though like you don't necessarily need to break it down, but it just helps you to break it down because like today I learned new things about my pitches, and I've been pitching since like 5th grade, 4th grade. And
Isn't that fun though?
Yeah, and it was in like a 45-minute session that I learned a bunch of new things about my pitches. So I think it's helpful.
Yeah, it's great when you have a pitching coach that you've never seen before, and they've maybe seen you a couple of times, and they'll play with something just in your grip alone that changes that pitch and turns it into something tremendous for you, and you didn't realize that you had it. That's one thing that I always like to see, or when I work with players and they're that aha moment, I call it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because we've interviewed your catcher from high school, and everybody has had to have watched that already because it's already out.
Yes, you have.
But the camaraderie between you and a catcher in high school obviously was pretty impressive. She's a hell of a player too. So 2 really good athletes together is pretty, obviously the results, right?
Yeah.
Going into college and now you have a new catcher and you got to get used to them. What do you think you're going to be able to carry next into this new relationship with a new catcher?
We actually have like a lot of catchers because our college program is a bigger program. So honestly, I've never really had a problem like gelling with a catcher besides if I like have like a personal problem with them. But like here, I'm not really like drama. I'm very like relaxed. I'm more like chill. So like so far all of these girls have caught for me and there's been absolutely no problems. And everyone here is so sweet. So I'm like I don't know them, but we have a good like starting relationship which we can easily build off of, and it'll only get better once you get to know them more, because I've only been here, I think it's almost 3 weeks on Thursday. So like they've caught for me like maybe like once. So it's just like developing that like starting relationship and then just building off there.
Nice. That a lot of people don't realize that that catcher pitcher relationship is ginormous. And if you can have that relationship with multiple catchers, it's really going to benefit you in the long run, because it's going to put that, not cockiness, the confidence behind you to be able to throw to any one of your catchers at any given time, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
We're going to jump way back because I want to talk back to that high school connection. You guys went deep into your state championships, which your school had never done that before. The last out, it was over. You were a step away from that state championships. What was the feeling? Because you guys were successful, but then you also, everybody loses. What was that moment?
So after the game, everyone was crying, everyone was like really upset, but I honestly like felt like so content like with the season. Like we went into the 9th inning against a team that on paper had easily like completely outmatched us. Like if you went up player to player, they easily like completely outmatched us, but we still came together as a team. Like our like togetherness as a team and the way that we bonded this year was like completely, like it was insane. Like girls on the team will still like talk in the group chat and they'll be like, sometimes I just look at pictures from the season and it just like makes you happy. So honestly, like even though we were one strike away, as our coach likes to say, I honestly like wasn't like upset in any way. I was so like content with this season and how we had came together as a team, incorporated new girls into the program, that honestly was just like, yes, would I have loved to go to the state semifinals? Yes. But we had gotten so far as a team, and I think that the relationships and the memories that were developed to that moment were like everything that I had ever wanted out of the senior season. So yes, we were like one strike away, but honestly, I wouldn't have traded it for like what had happened within the season.
I want to know one silly thing about Kayla.
A silly thing?
Yeah, a silly thing.
Let me think. Do you have an idea?
There's so many to choose from.
Yeah.
Let me think. A silly thing.
That was the toughest question.
Yeah.
No, I'm not funny. No, I'm just kidding. Silly thing.
It's too hard.
I'm very sarcastic. Like I like to be sarcastic with people. Half the stuff I say, like I don't actually mean. So like, I don't know. I like to joke around. I'm not like serious all the time. I am like on the field, but I will always like have jokes with people. Like if you wanna not like mean jokes, but like they are mean jokes. So like you just like go back and forth and like make fun of each other. Like it's just fun. It's just like it's like bantering. So like I'm very like I like to banter with people and I'm very like sarcastic.
Yeah.
Practical jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Here we go. Now this
I don't want to open that door.
All right. Here we go. Your best practical joke.
Oh, come on. No, you can't put me on the spot.
You're like,
Oh
It has
God,
to be,
yeah,
like,
we have
you
to.
put me in
it has to be,
jail.
like, in the moment. It has to be like in the moment and it has to like make sense in the situation, or else I'm not gonna be able to come up with it.
All right,
It's
I
on the
guess.
All right, I'm gonna finish this up because we do got to go. But
Oh yeah, we do.
who do you want to thank for where you are now?
Honestly, my parents, because I remember I used to, but before I could drive, they would drive me to my pitching lesson with Bob, my hitting lesson with Bob, my pitching lesson with Dave or Kenzie, and then I would go to lift 4 or 5 times a week, and that was just like on my own. And my travel team was 2 hours away from my house, and we would drive to practices on Sundays for 4 hours. We would drive 2 hours there, be there for 4 hours, maybe more, and then we would drive 2 hours back on Sunday, all on Sunday. So that would take up like that just one day. And then they both have full-time jobs, so they work during the whole week. Sometimes my mom even works on the weekend because she's a doctor and they have to work in like a weekend office. So they really like put a lot of time into me and to get me to college and to get me to be a pre-law major and be a finance major and come here and play softball and pitch and be able to compete with like some of the best girls in the area.
I love it.
Nice. I do too.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I always notice that nobody ever thanks us.
I know. What's up with that?
I just met you.
He was like, "Oh wait, no, wait, I got."
no. So we got something for you to do after every strikeout. You ready?
Okay.
What up?
I don't know about that.
All right. I just thought I'd try it. Throw it out there.
Do you have a move after a strikeout? Do you like pump your arm, or are you like, what is there something you do after a strikeout?
It depends.
Yeah.
Like it depends on if it's like a big strikeout. If it's not a big strikeout, I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
next batter.
I get it.
But like if
Well,
it's like
you've been
really big
amazing.
strikeout-
What was
if
that?
it's a really big strikeout, I'm like, yeah, like
Yeah, pumped up, right? And the girls are going nuts in the dugout and everything, right?
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Kayla, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We had such a great time. You are fun. I can't wait to check you out during the season, follow you, and see what happens.
Yeah, go get them, get focused, and just strike everybody out.
thank you. It was nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you. What up?
Definitely. From all of us here at What Up and Kayla, you guys have a great day and a better tomorrow. What up?
What up?